I think that speaks to where we're at with with Angulac. And I think the work that's been done to date is literally just scratching the surface of the potential in this area.
Hey, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Troy Boisjoli. He is the CEO of Atha Energy. And Troy, it's good to have you back again. How are you?
Yeah, great. Great to be with you again, Steve.
Yeah, it's been a very busy year for you and the company. And no doubt today's announcement really fits in with that as well, as you've staked some new area at the Angulac project in Nunavut. So let's remind everyone a little bit about this project first, and then we'll talk about the staking of this new ground.
Yeah, it's been part of our aggressive growth strategy over the last 12 months, Steve. We acquired Latitude Uranium for the Angulac project. It's a 43.3 million pound uranium deposit at an average rate of 0.69% U3O8, which has it situated as one of the highest grade uranium projects outside of the Athabasca Basin. From there, with that foundation, then we moved in this summer and did a first pass exploration expansion program there with the objective of expanding the footprint of the mineralized envelope at LAC 50. So we put just over 10,000 meters of drilling into it, 25 drill holes, achieved what we wanted to achieve across the board, expanded the footprint of mineralization at LAC 50, extended the areas of prospectivity and mineralization on LAC 48, which we're calling now LAC 52 and LAC 54. So gave us a line of sight to de-risk resource growth there at Angulac, which we really like. And then obviously that leads into the staking that we're talking about today.
Yeah, so in essence, the project with the staking is increased to 158,000 plus hectares, and that includes all of that LAC 50 area you were talking about. So this really gives you a hold on that entire property, it seems.
Yeah, it does, and to our advantage, being a first mover in this area, we've gotten up the learning curve substantially, and are now in a position to better understand the broad scale metal endowment that we see in this area. And that gives us a line of sight to not only growth around LAC 50 in terms of future resource growth, but also from a regional perspective. The amount of greenfields exploration potential that we see up here is significant based off of the results that we've seen to date and the metal endowment that we've seen to date on this property. Outside of LAC 50, there's been 10 areas tested, and 9 of them are mineralized. So there's a lot of uranium in this part of the world, and that was obviously the catalyst for us acquiring the additional ground.
Yeah, as I was reading through the recent news releases, especially about the drilling program, it's pointed out in there that still you're only on a small part of this property. It's quite a large property, as you mentioned a bit earlier, but it seems that the area that you've chosen to begin seems to be a positive one moving forward.
I think that speaks to where we're at with with Angulac. And I think the work that's been done to date is literally just scratching the surface of the potential in this area. It's in the right setting from a geologic perspective. We've got the edges of a sandstone basin, not dissimilar to the Athabasca that we grab the margins of. And I think the opportunity that we're looking for moving forward is not only a continuation of the style of mineralization that we see at LAC 50, but also highlighting the potential for Athabasca style unconformity mineralization in and around the vicinity of the sandstone basin, which we now have the margins of and control.
And lastly, Troy, I just want to ask you about uranium in general. Still lots of talk in North America about the need for it and the positivity around it. Are you feeling that as well?
Steve, as you know, I've been in the uranium business quite a long time. Came up through Cameco, came up through NextGen, and have been, as close to the uranium sector as possible for my entire career. And I have never seen the fundamentals stack up the way they are right now. The macro story continues to gain steam, continues to build up, and we're sitting in a point in time right now where the fundamental story is now a supply demand driven story, and it is driven by a stacked up demand profile and really uncertainty on the supply side. And so, what that leads to is in our view, asymmetry to the upside moving forward. So we really like where we're at from a macro perspective. That ties into ATHA's aggressive growth strategy that we've been executing on over the last 12 months and will continue to execute on moving forward.
Absolutely. Exciting times for sure, Troy. Really appreciate yours. And thanks very much for the update.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Thanks for having me.
All right, Troy Boyes-Jolly, the CEO of ATHA Energy.